stealth technology have long been required in all of the world's largest military. However, with each generation, engineers must make more ambitious judgments. One such solution is the U.S. Air Force's newest strategic bomber, the B-21 Raider, which is the result of decades of stealth and combat effectiveness research. Today, we'll discuss how this aircraft may respond to future military engagements. Military aviation has advanced rapidly since the mid-20th century, when the first jet bombers were introduced. Each iteration got more advanced, clandestine, and lethal. Yet stealth was harshly attacked in the United States in the 1990s by those seeking to reduce defense budget. Just going back a few decades, it's easy to state that this technology has transformed the notion of intelligence and operations behind enemy lines. However, to call it a silver bullet would be an exaggeration. After all, stealth necessitated numerous concessions in speed and aerodynamics. Lockheed's F-117 Nighthawk and Northrop's B-2 Spirit lacked afterburners. Hence, the finest stealth fighters of the day could only fly at subsonic speeds. We don't disagree that supersonic flight is exciting, but the sonic boom, along with the engine's heat signature that shines like a Christmas tree on enemy radar, isn't the ideal option if stealth is your first objective. Not to mention that faster speeds would either more fuel, which is already pricey, or additional fuel tank capacity. In summary, power-hungry afterburners would significantly restrict flight range. Another major block for the early invisible plane designers was their aerodynamic instability. Digital fly-by-wire technology allows for fully controlled flight by constantly adjusting flight control with computers. The third, but far from minor issue, was the creation of a unique coating. Engineers had to not only create a material that increased the reflection of radar signals from enemy radars, but also ensure that it did not add weight to the device. It wasn't too pricey either. Repairing and reapplying a special covering after each mission would cost American agencies and taxpayers a significant sum. Realizing this, the first stealth tech teams attempted to achieve an 85 to 90% reduction in the crucial effective dispersion area by the form of the aircraft itself, with only a 10 to 15% reduction due to radar dampening materials. One of the first public mentions of the impending American stealth aircraft came from Defense Daily in 1975, when they reported on the High Stealth II. This topic was later expanded in Jane's All the World's Aircraft for 1977-78, when Lockheed's Skunk Works division is building a compact stealth fighter with a minimal radar, infrared, and optical signature. The F-117 Nighthawk was shrouded in greater secrecy than the legendary B-2 Spirit. However, following a succession of tiny leaks and the appearance of hundreds of tales of varying degrees of silliness, the Pentagon published a grainy photo of the F-117 in 1988, purposefully blurring the device's features to avoid revealing all of the design information. During the construction of the B-2, the services decided to devote less attention to concealing information about the aircraft. As a result, the Advanced Technology Bomber, a TB program which produced the stealth bomber, was more gray than black, as it was during the construction of the F-117. Perhaps because there was less mystery, the B-2 Spirit eventually became the personification of the word stealth, with many people around the world associating it strongly. The B-2, which was released to the public in November 1988, was genuinely unique due to its groundbreaking design. Unprecedented utilization of composite materials, integration of sophisticated avionics, and ability to be fine-tuned according to mission requirements. The airplane challenged 6,000 firms, 40,000 people in 46 states, and a dozen disciplines, including integrated 3D computer design, manufacturing, and molding novel materials into large-scale aircraft components. The Spirit made its combat debut in 1999 during the Kosovo War, killing 33% of Serbian targets during the first 8 weeks of U.S. involvement. It was also the first aircraft to utilize GPS satellite-guided JDAM Joint Direct Attack Munition smart bombs, which replaced the controversial carpet bombing techniques used in the 1991 Gulf War and previous military confrontations. This was followed by service in Afghanistan as part of Operation Enduring Freedom in the 2000s, the war in Iraq in 2003, Operation Odyssey Dawn, and multiple operations on ISIS, militant targets with MiG-9 Reaper drone. When the Air Force updated its service life forecasts for the B-2 Spirit in November 2001, it admitted that the new bomber would be required before the 2040s. At the same time, the Next Generation Bomber, NGB program, was initiated in the early 2000s. but escalating costs from various additional missions and requirements caused the military to abandon the NGB in 2009. However, long-range strikes remained a vital demand for the U.S. Air Force, and the new bomber was identified as a critical means of delivering them. As a result, by 2010, NGB development was shifted to the more contemporary Long-Range Strike Bomber (LRSB) program, which aimed to develop and procure a long-range strategic bomber for the U.S. Air Force. The LRSB was expected to replace the present fleet of Boeing B-52 Stratofortress heavy bombers, which are part of the Rockwell B-1 Lancer fleet, as well as supplement the U.S. Air Force's Northrop B-2 Spirit fleet, whose service life will finish in 2045. However, the Air Force ultimately decided to decommission the B-2 by 2032 and the B-1 by 2036, leaving just the B-52 flying until the 2050s due to cheaper maintenance costs and payload diversity, including nuclear cruise missiles. In October 2015, the U.S. Department of Defense awarded Northrop Grumman a contract to build the 21st Century Bomber with an initial cost of $21.4 billion and the possibility of increasing that price for the program will cost a whopping $80 billion. Northrop's decision in the face of competition from Lockheed Martin and Boeing was influenced by the aircraft's cost. In December 2022, the cost of one B-21 was expected to be $700 million, which sounded much more modest than the price of more than $2.1 billion for one B-2 Spirit, and the ultimate objective was to have a fleet of 100 Raiders by the second half of 2030. At first appearance, it's tough to dispute that the B-21 is the same as the B-2, but smaller. There aren't many novel approaches to creating a stealthy flying wing design. However, the devil is always in the detail. First and foremost, according to the United States. According to Air Force authorities, the B-21 Raider will have a higher operational ceiling. This improves the pilot's line of sight to the aircraft's sensors, simplifies communications, and increases situational awareness. The question is how much this will impair the device's survivability. Operating over 50,000 feet would also rule out the likelihood of the B-21 being noticed by marauding enemy fighters or early warning aircraft. According to letters from U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, no other long-range bomber can equal its effectiveness. It won't have to be set in a theater. It will not require logistical support to keep any target at risk. As a result, the Raider will have a greater range without refueling, allowing it to navigate through an enemy's anti-access area denial defenses, which can be thousands of kilometers away from a target. It will have to circle for an extended period of time inside contested airspace, tracking targets to ensure that every mile of reserve flight is not squandered. After photographing the B-21 several times over the last few years, experts have applauded how perfect the overall streamlining looks. Broadband, very low observable design cues are readily obvious. The entire plane is seamlessly merged. Individual characteristics and elevation variations are kept as minimal as feasible. Intake ports, which were historically a source of frustration for stealth bomber developers, have been seamlessly integrated deep into a flying wing design, representing a significant improvement over the B-2. Indeed, the hefty panel seams are hidden throughout the fuselage. Decades of advancements in materials, technology, and computer-aided design have enabled the construction and assembly of even the largest composite components, removing the need for several connections and seams across the fuselage. It's difficult to comprehend how much easier it was for the Northrop crew to conceal the B-21's seamless body beneath a layer of the latest RAM radar-absorbing material, the formula for which is even more closely guarded than the trademark dish at your favorite family restaurant. Furthermore, prior to the emergence of the first Raider prototypes, Northrop had already applied coatings termed HFM alternative high-frequency material to the existing fleet of B-2 Spirit bombers. The public was surprised when Northrop first displayed the aircraft's side and front windows. While the front ones appeared to be a normal solution, the side ones resembled the narrow eyes of an angry duck, at least from the plane's profile. In fact, the design of the windows does a decent job of reducing what hostile ground-based radar might pick up. The B-21's recessed air intakes were the most demanding design aspect, although one would expect nothing less from Northrop. Given the development of stealth air intakes for the Raider's great-grandfather, the experimental Tacit Blue emerged, developed to test stealth technology in the early 1980s, isolating turbulent boundary layer air and getting enough air via serpentine ducts used to conceal the highly reflecting engine fan faces to avoid starving the aircraft's engines are significant challenges. Furthermore, what was not a problem when cruising can become a major issue at high power levels and greater angles of attack encountered during terminal operations. The same B-2 Spirit had much more dominant air intakes with scalloped splitters along the lower edges than the 21, but nothing is known about the engines or their quantity, though many experts believe the bomber will be powered by the same Pratt & Whitney EF-135 engines as the American F-35 Lightning II fighter fleet. Photos from the first flight tests of the Raider, which were released in November 2023, validated rumors that the new U.S. Air Force strategic bomber's main weapons bay will be significantly smaller. On the one hand, certain assumptions about the A-1 MOP massive ordnance penetrator payload proved to be correct, as opposed to the two that its ancestor B-2 could carry. On the other side, the Air Force aims to buy 100 additional Raiders, as opposed to the 19 Spirits now in service. What is the enemy most scared of? The question is rather rhetorical. Let us not forget another essential component of the long-range strike family of systems to which the B-21 belong. We're discussing new air-launched cruise missiles with nuclear warheads, the GM-181 LRSO long-range standoff. They undoubtedly have their own place in the Raider's interior compartment. Swarming drones would be the perfect finishing touch to the B-21's arsenal. Parallel to the long-range strike bomber program, the U.S. Air Force is developing another futuristic device, the next-generation air dominance, a sixth-generation fighter, and because they will be fully integrated as part of the U.S. fleet, they will be able to function in tandem with the latest CC, collaborative combat aircraft drones. Furthermore, in 2023, Air Force authorities indicated their plan to buy at least 1,000 CCAS. So what have we got? Plans are for 100 futuristic B-21 strategic stealth bombers by the mid-2030s, several hundred NGAD stealth combat fighters paired with the existing fleet of modified F-35s by the 2040C, and more than 1,000 CCAS. If this isn't the combat aviation fleet of the future, we're not sure what is. What are your thoughts? Will the B-21 Raider be able to surpass its legendary ancestor, the B-2 Spirit? Please let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell for more stuff like this one. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.